Well, good afternoon, everyone. I hope you are well. I hope you can hear me okay. I am getting set up for our live stream. I'm really excited. I don't get to do this often. I know I need to do it more. So that is absolutely part of the plan. So I hope that you will go ahead and join. I'm just going to check on some of my stuff and some of my settings here and make sure that things are well. And then we're going to get started. We shall get started. So join in with me. And I'm really excited too about just sharing some things specifically with my Leader Camp family. So that makes this even more exciting. So come on, join me. Again, I am excited about having you on, and I hope we can get started in a few minutes. All right, so if you're watching, go ahead and comment for me so I can just kind of keep up with where we are. I absolutely want to see your comments. Going to do my best to also just respond as I can. And I'm excited to talk about today just what we need to be doing to actually create some momentum and get ready for 2021. Because guess what? It is just right around the corner. It's right around the corner. So come on and join me. Join me, join me. And I am just checking my stream as well. Hey, Tashana, how are you? I'm glad you're with me today. I'm sure all is well. I've been seeing you again. You are keeping pretty busy. Hey, Regina, how are you? Hey, Pat. Good afternoon, everybody. I see you joining. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Come on in. I'm excited to have a little time just to chat with you today. Hey, Valerie. Valerie's like, hello, I'm here. Hey, Val. Hello, hello, hello. I hope y'all are having some lunch or some water or some coffee or tea or something. Because we can have lunch and chat at the same time. I'm going to give folks about another 2 minutes and then we will get started. Good. Hey, Taisha. Good afternoon to you. Can y'all believe, my goodness, we're at like Christmas time? You know, the stores are really pushing me a little bit fast. Let me just say that. Because I'm just trying to get a little something on the table, a little pumpkin or something on the table for Thanksgiving, and the stores are already pushing me to Christmas. Let me say that. Um, but I can't believe it just seems like uh, time has been on the move. It really does. So I'm going to take another minute and then we're going to get started. And today I'm going to talk about how you create momentum and prepare really to go into 2021. How to create momentum and prepare to go into 2021. Hey, Ricky, how are you? I'm so glad you could join us. So, guys, we have one of our Leader Camp speakers online with us. We've got Ricky out of California. Our coach Cornelius is with us today, so we are glad about that. And let me share with you that I'm going to just share um, I'm going to share probably a PDF some kind of way to this group. I've got to see how I can do that and Facebook. I'm just kind of getting used to Facebook. I'm not a big Facebook person, but I do have these tips and things written out. So I'm pretty sure there's a way I can message the group. So I'm going to do that so that you can have them in writing too. But y'all know I'm a technology person, so it's always good if I share something on the screen. You can take a picture of the screen, and guess what? I am going to try the screen sharing features today. So I will share my screen a little bit so that you can, well, maybe I will. I'm trying to learn my new features. Okay. So it's not happy with the screen sharing. But anyway, I'll share a PDF with you so that you can have these tips and things that I'm sharing today. So let me go ahead and get started. Thank you to all that have joined. I want to use our time wisely. So again, the goal today is to talk about how to create momentum for 2021. If you're anything like me, I am kind of just coming down from leader camp, and I can say that because you all were all a part of it. Good morning, Katrina. Thank you. I'm so glad you got a chance to join. So sometimes an event like that just creates momentum in and of itself. But when we're getting to the end of the year, sometimes just even our physical bodies begin to slow down a little bit. And let me first say that's not a bad thing, because absolutely one of the tips that I'm going to share today, and I'll probably share that as the first tip, is to make sure that you plan to give yourself some rest as we come into the end of 2020. If not, you can start off 2021 without a break, physical body, still in a place of whether it's exhaustion, high stress, and you don't have a time to be refreshed. And so being refreshed coming into 2021 is really, really important, because we believe God to take us higher, right? We believe to do new things. We believe to do greater things. So we're human. And these physical temples need time to rest. So that was my last tip, but I'm just going to share it as my first tip. Make sure that as you end up 2020, you plan time and schedule downtime for you to rest. So let me also shape this by saying one of the ways that we create momentum for 2021 is that we end 2020 properly. And so a lot of the tips that I'm going to share today are really talking about what we should be doing now to properly close out 2020 so that we can go into 2021 with some momentum. So I'll also share this next tip, which is this. It says, keep your focus, but let go of perfectionism. So that is really addressing the fact that we've got some goals that we had maybe set over the year, and we've not quite completed them. And if we're honest with ourselves, as we look at the time, the amount of days that we have left, we may not be able to complete every single goal. So when I talk about let go of perfectionism, it's like give yourself some space for that to be okay, but reset what you need to. Now, this word reset doesn't mean start back over again. It really means to make an adjustment. So as you look at, kind of review some of the goals you had set for the year, and you are honest and you can see there are some things that you're not going to be able to accomplish, reset, rework that goal, make some adjustments to see if you can bring it into something that is doable in the next few days as we prepare to end this year. Um, Important thing is to try to do the reset if you cannot make it as is. Try not to just ditch the goal altogether. All right, here's the next one. Number 2, call an extra meeting or two, but only if needed. So some examples of the meeting might be a 2021 planning meeting that you do with your team, or a 2020 year in review meeting. What we do at the ARC, because our leadership conference is so close to the end of the year, we do a leader camp recap meeting, and we just got through doing ours last week, which really helps us focus in on one of our larger projects throughout the year, which is the leader camp conference. But we also do a 2021, we'll be doing one for planning for the next year. And we do this every year in the month of December. So those that are part of the ARC family, you haven't gotten your date yet. I was going to share it tomorrow in Bible study, but know that we have a 2021 planning meeting coming up. And this is where we do two things. One, we take out some time to celebrate all that we have accomplished over the past year. But then, what are the goals for 2021? And this is a time in particular that I really love to hear from our family, our team here at the ARC, what they see, where they see some gaps in what we've been doing, where they see some opportunities for new things that we can add, whether it's to our curriculum, to the church side of things. So I'm really looking for some input from my team. And they will tell you that I am quick to say, I don't like any quiet meetings. And so when I say I want some input and ideas, I am heartfelt serious about that. Hey, Candy, good afternoon. So make sure you take some time out to schedule a meeting or two with your team to review what you've accomplished over the year, but also to plan for what goals you might have going forward into 2021. Tip number 3, because these goals, as you can see, are not just about self, they're about the team. Because whatever you're working on, you probably, and I hope you do, you have a team. So it's not you by yourself. Even if it's only one other person, that's still a team. So this next tip is really about team, and it says to give tokens of appreciation. Now, sometimes the people on your team, you work with them every day in, day out, to do what you do. Other times, people that are part of your team might actually be people that you collaborate, that have their own businesses or ministries. And so you collaborate on certain things throughout the year. Either way, it is important that you go ahead and give tokens of appreciation. Now, I'm not just talking about bonuses, but what I'm talking about is something personal. It could be everything from a handwritten card or note to something personal that you know is special to the individual that you're giving it to. And this is something that I think I began doing like 2 years ago, almost right after we launched at the ARC. And it is part of our just holiday celebration that we have every year. And even right now, we're trying to figure out what that looks like, of course, because we are still in the midst of a pandemic setting. But these tokens of appreciation are so important. And I love to do it because it is just another one of the ways I can say thank you, to the team that's helped throughout the year. All right, tip number 4, going into technology now. Back up your computers and mobile devices and do a little data cleanup. All right, so this is like get into your office, physical office, clean off your desk and clean off some of the files and papers that you have. And by the way, you need to do that too. But this technical time is really great because we all are becoming more technical focused. And so the opportunity to free up some storage space, which I got a notice on my phone yesterday that my phone is getting full, freeing up storage space there, freeing up storage space perhaps on our laptop or desktop, and then making backup of important files or images is so crucial to what we're doing in business. This also kind of creates that freshness and that newness as you get ready to go into the year. And so let me use this example about cleaning up our office again. Most of us kind of wait to do that, and we share that we don't have time to do it. But the truth is, when we do it, oh my gosh, that next day you come in and sit down and work, you getting some stuff done. So I've already been preparing to do my physical office over the break. I've gotten some little clips that are going to help me put cords and cables and things together. And a few more gadgets to help me try to work more efficiently. But the fact is, when we back up our computers and mobile devices and do some cleanup, get rid of those apps that we're not using, things that are taking up space, and on mobile devices, frankly, will just even slow your device down. Get rid of some of that stuff. It helps you just to refresh, get a good start. And again, we're creating momentum so that we can go into 2021. All right, number 5, make a list of the goals and accomplishments from the past year and be sure to share this with your team. So I've talked about this a little bit earlier because this is something that we do generally either during our holiday celebration or during our goal setting meeting that we have for the next year. But the important thing that I want to emphasize is celebrate what you've accomplished. Don't let anything seem too small for you to celebrate. Pastor Forrest says it like this all the time. He says, make a mountain out of that molehill. And so sometimes we think what we've accomplished is really, really small. And sometimes you don't really realize what you've accomplished till you take a moment to actually write it down. So that's the challenge here. Write it down, jot it down, make a list of what you've accomplished over the year. Think about what your goals were, what you've done, and be sure to share that and celebrate it with your team. And it's great to point out some things because everybody doesn't always work on every single project, but it's great to highlight where different people made certain contributions, and where you learned even more about them and their gifts and talents, and they really had an opportunity to shine over the year. So we love to do that at the ARC. Number 6. Now, and when I finish this list, I'm going to be asking you all to share with me some of the things that you do, right, as you are trying to prepare and get ready to close out the end of year and go into the next one. So here's my number 6. Schedule some one-on-ones and use this as a time of encouragement, acknowledgement of skills and gifts that you have observed during the year, and as a time to establish some new assignments for the coming year. So this is such a special opportunity that you will get to spend some one-on-one time with some of your core team members. Now, of course, depending on how large your team or your organization is, that will determine what you are able to do. But regardless of the size of your organization, you have a core group that you work with very closely. I know we do here at the ARC. And so this time of year, we take an opportunity just to have some one-on-ones. I want to hear from them, how they felt the year went, and then what goals they might have had within the ministry or within the art school to accomplish, where they feel like they are, what they are planning on going forward. And again, I use this as an opportunity to say, hey, you know what? You really shined in these areas over the year, because a lot of times people, they really don't see their own gifts, they don't see their own brilliance. And so as leader, that's part of what we need to be doing. We need to be sharing and actually illuminating to them those places that they are shining. That is so, so important. It's so encouraging. And then lastly, I talked about a lot of times this results in some additional assignments or challenges as going into the new year that individual can take on. So I love, love, love taking that time to do some one-on-ones and talk about those gifts, that brilliance that the team has shown over the year. So that is so, so, so exciting. All right, almost done. Number 7. Here's a good question. Where are your gaps as an organization as it relates to staffing? Identify where those places are, what the needs are. And I am a big person for not always trying to fill every gap. And by that, I mean sometimes we need to leave a gap because it really needs the right person and the individual or individuals that can focus on that area. They need to be in it. And if we start doing too much gap filling, we'll forget that there really was a gap because we get into, I'm gonna call it make do mode. We're gonna make do. So don't be afraid. And you hear me say this all the time. Don't be afraid to leave a gap, number one, but know where that gap is so that as resources make themselves available, it may be that people volunteer. It may be through collaboration with another organization. When you know what those gaps are, when those resources appear, and sometimes they don't appear, but for a moment, you recognize them and you're able to take advantage of that moment and actually build something that's going to help to fill that gap. Now, the uncomfortable part of this can also be that we need to talk about here, where do I have too many resources in one place? Or sometimes there are things within our businesses or ministries that we've been doing over the past year, but we realize, you know what? It's time to lay that to rest because everything won't necessarily, every goal, every program, every class that you offer won't necessarily go year after year after year after year. So I'm talking about assessment here now. So what is it that you may have been doing? Where have you maybe been staffed or had resources focused that it's time to lay that to rest so you can focus on other areas? And I never hope that any of that results in really having to release people. I'm hoping that at minimum, it may be readjusting assignments for individuals. But it's important that you take the time to do that as you look at your organization. All right, tip number 8, plan a welcome back in the new year. Plan a welcome back. Um, in the morning, I don't know about you, it takes me a minute to get started. And I'll tell you something else I noticed that's just kind of really interesting going on in the mix of my life now as I'm now permanently working from home 5 days a week. Ministry is 100% full time. It's even like more than full time right through here. Um, but Mondays are kind of hard for me to turn off ministry for a minute and switch over to what I do at Georgia Tech. And I don't always switch as quickly as I need to, even though, and I can tell you all, I'm generally up by 5. Pastor Forrest has to be at work at 5:30, so he's up at 4:15, and so I generally am up at the same time, even though I'm up by 5 at 9, which is about right around the time my first meeting starts at Georgia Tech. Sometimes I'm still trying to, flip over to Georgia Tech mode, right? Because that's not where my attention, time, or anything else has been over the weekend. Even if I look at my schedule the night before, it's still a challenge. So, what I'm saying there is when you plan like a welcome back in the new year, you are also helping your team kind of come out of relaxation mode, come out of it may be party or network or fellowship mode. This is Christmas time, or family mode. And I see Judith, I see she's saying Mondays are her lazy days. I know, right? I really would love to be able to just flat take Mondays off because in ministry you're busy on the weekends. So help your team. This is what I'm saying, and yourself. Help yourselves transition into the new year by planning something fun. This just might be buying lunch one day and you all sharing in lunch, reviewing any goals and things that you kind of set up during that 2021 planning meeting you might have had in December. And it should also involve, allowing people time to share. How was your break? How was your downtime? What did you all do, especially this year when everybody's having to be a little bit more creative? So make it fun, make it lively, but the point is help your team to transition into 2021. So let me review these. I'm going to go back to the top, and then if you are will, I want you to start sharing what are some of the things you do in ministry or in business to actually get ready to transition into the new year. So that can be something that you do to kind of close out the current year you're in, or something that you do to open up the new year that's coming. So my tips were, number one, be sure you take time and plan some rest and downtime. And listen, encourage your staff to do the same also. You already know who the workaholics are on your staff, and usually you're one of them. But encourage them to do and understand, if you don't plan and take that downtime, many of them won't either. And the reality of that is that it's not healthy. We all need to rest our bodies, but listen, we also need to rest our minds. We need to rest our physical bodies and our minds, right? So we're taking the time to rest. Number two, keeping your focus, but let go of being a perfectionist. Reset or readjust if you need to. That's number two. Keep your focus, but let go of perfectionism. Thank you, Judith, for putting these in the chat for us. Tip number three, call an extra meeting or two if you need to, and that might be a planning meeting, or it could be what we call like a year in review meeting. That's tip number three. Calling an extra meeting might be a planning meeting or a year in review meeting. All right. Tip number four, give tokens of appreciation. Give tokens of appreciation. This is to your staff. This is something personal. This is not the bonus check. Interesting, where I was reading, it was saying some people just consider a bonus as something that they've earned, and so it doesn't feel real personal. It may feel good, but it doesn't feel real personal. So when I talk about personal, again, I like to think about the individual and sharing or giving them something. It doesn't have to be anything big, but something I know that's very personal to them, something I know that they would really like and enjoy. Number five, back up all your computers and mobile devices and do a quick data cleanup, right? So that's the electronic way of cleaning your office. You need to clean your physical office, but also clean your technology office. That is number five. Number six, make a list of goals and accomplishments from the past year and share these with your team. Include little notes about where individual ones were involved and what their contributions were. In other words, celebrate. No matter how small you might think it is, make a mountain even out of a molehill and celebrate what you've accomplished. Number seven, schedule some one-on-one time with your core team, and you're using that as time of encouragement, acknowledgement of gift and skills, and talking about some new assignments or challenges for the coming year. That is number seven, schedule one-on-ones with your core team. All right, and then number eight, identify any staffing needs, understand where your gaps are, but also understand when we talk about staffing needs for adjustment, because sometimes we have people focused in places where there's not as much need. And sometimes, again, it's time to put a program or a class or a service offering, it's time to put it to rest. Number nine, plan a welcome back party in the new year. So this is January 1st and beyond. Maybe it's your first day back to work or your very first team meeting. Let it be celebratory. Give people a time to transition, and then moving forward, reminding them of goals and things that you have set in terms of moving into the new year. So that's it. That's what I've been doing and will continue to be doing over the next few weeks as I get ready for 2021. Now, you might notice that I didn't say anything about starting anything new this time of year. I really consider this time as what I call loose ends. Also, one of the things that I usually do during this time to my core staff is I communicate with them either in email or face to face, and I ask, is there anything you're waiting on from me? So, in other words, have I been human and forgotten something that I promised to do for you, to get to you, to work with you on, whatever it may be? And then I open up so that I can fulfill that, because we want to keep our word, right? You all know we talk about character and integrity all the time, so we're not perfect, but we need to build in those things to make sure that we can keep our word for what we're promising that we do. Hey, Apostle Eugenia, I'm so glad you had a chance to join. So that's me. What do you all do? How do you all get ready? How do you all shut down 2020 and, excuse me, shut down the current year and prepare to go into the new year? You all talk to me in the chat some. What do you all do? What's part of your process? All right, y'all talk to me some. I already know y'all multitasking because I get it. I know that. But talk to me a little bit. What do you all do as you're preparing to leave the current year and move into the next? I'm kind of looking back through my chat. Just want to make sure. Hey, Pastor Linda, make sure I see everybody. And Pat, hey, how are you? All right, I'm just checking back in. So I am going to, I imagine, get ready to shut down. Let me take this opportunity to say a thank you again for Leader Camp. You all was such a blessing. Oh my gosh, such a blessing. And we had such an amazing time. My team has been laughing at me a little bit because I needed a little extra recuperation time this year after Leader Camp. And I took that because that's what my body needed. And so I laughed and I said, I've been MIA since leader camp. So this is my first time back even doing any kind of live since then. Taisha says, yeah, she takes rest and she gives herself time to just be still, especially right after Christmas. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Uh-huh. So Apostle Eugenia, yeah, scheduling the downtime and the end of year meetings with the team. Absolutely. Let's see. So Ricky is saying he reviews last year's brainstorming and he refreshes using the planning tool. And this is one of the diagrams that he gave us at Leader Camp. So be reminded of that. This is a good opportunity to pull those back out. And in fact, that website is still up. If you all need to go out there and re-download those things, I just hadn't taken it down yet. So excellent. Thank you, Ricky. Judith says part of her process is to wrap up what is a priority and plan a party. And so that's real good because you mentioned the word priorities. And so that's looking at all of the things that we may have that we haven't quite finished and being able to ask yourself, okay, what's the priority here? May not get everything done. We talked about that a little bit, but what's the priority and what do I need to be sure to finish out in this year? Celebrations, achievements, accomplishments. Yes, yes. And Pastor Linda says, I'm just enjoying the time off. Yes, 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 Pastor Linda. An opportunity to do nothing and like require your brain to do nothing. And I will say this too, even as in ministry and even as a pastor, I recall days in ministry where through Thanksgiving and Christmas, sometimes church seemed to get busier. But that's really not our operating model at the Ark. Our operating model is to take the time to spend with your family and your friends and to enjoy. And when we get together in this season, we doing something fun. Again, it's a little bit different this year, so we are thinking about one or two virtual settings. But as a church and as a school, business, we're not planning a lot of events here because we want people to really spend time with their family. Um, and so often we're always busy, we're always going, we're always doing. And so we have adjusted that a little bit. So I like to just kind of share that with my folks. So thank you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you so for your insight. on these tips. I hope they'll be helpful to you in your ministry and business. And I don't know, I may or may not see you again on Facebook Live before the end of the year, but probably will. I may do kind of just like I did today, which is pop something on the day before and say I'll be on live. But yeah, I'm trying to get into that shutdown mode myself and be true to what I'm teaching. Amen. So God bless you all. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you for joining me on Facebook Live to talk about building momentum going into 2021. You know, be encouraged. It has been a challenging time, but listen, we have made it this far. We know that we are going into 2021, God willing, and we believe God is willing. I believe God is willing for my life and my family and those connected to me. I believe that God is willing. Not to say that I'm Him, but I believe that He is willing. And we want to be ready and prepared to accomplish all that He has placed before us. I want to remind you all to be wise and to be safe. Watch and pay attention to our health professionals um, as you pray. So I don't think it's either or. I think it's both and, because many of us may have some decisions to make coming up, and many of the decisions, they are individual decisions. So be wise, be prayerful, be safe, wear your mask. You know, if you got gloves, your hand sanitizer, just be in that mode, protective mode as we go into this holiday season. And I just look forward to speaking to all of you individually at some point. So God bless you. Have a great day. This is Pastor Victoria with the Ark in Atlanta. God bless you.